So hi everybody. Let's have a look at this course. We'll be doing it a little bit differently today, but you'll see a lot of similarities in what we have done in the past. So I'll just bring up the first screen. Oh, so we're engaged in this course on loving kindness, of course, and this is the final class. But this time you can see there's a few new books that I've added up here. So the course is sort of based around these two paths called the easy path and the swift path. They're both lamb rims, very similar to Lama Tsongkhapa's Great Lamb Rim, which this book here is a commentary on. Other than that, I've been using In Praise of Great Compassion to sort of fill out many of the other details in this course. So what we have covered so far is a very little bit on equanimity, which we'll do more of today. The benefits of love, Western and Buddhist conceptions of love, ideas of love, loving kindness itself, which is basically a sense of friendliness towards others, a wish that they be happy. And we talked a little bit about the development of love. And so we're going to go on more with this today, but more from an experiential point of view. And so today's lesson is focused on how to cultivate love in a session. So this will be the session. And then we'll finish off with how to practice love like outside the session. So we'll begin by setting up our motivation. So please just get comfortable in your seat. Check that your back is straight and your shoulders are relaxed. And take 3 deep breaths. So feel present, breathing normally and naturally. And if your eyes are closed at the moment, allow them to open now, just to have a look at the next slide, which concerns motivation. So it says here, as you can see, do not desire the results of this life. By desiring this life, the purpose of the life beyond will not be fulfilled. Reduce the aspiration seeking the life beyond, and the results of this life will expand. So now, if you like, you can sort of close your eyes or keep them open. Acknowledge that you feel comfortable in your body. So your body feels as solid as a rock. It's in a sturdy posture. And you feel ready for meditation. So take a moment to reflect upon why you meditate. So do you meditate to produce good health for yourself? Are you meditating to become a wealthier person? Are you meditating to become more well known as a good person? Or are you meditating to produce some sort of spiritual growth so that you can help others? So take a moment to contemplate the shared suffering of all beings. And then acknowledge the boundless kindness of all beings. So let this awareness guide you, the knowledge of the shared suffering of all beings and their boundless kindness towards us. And foster compassion for every living being. And then breathing in through your nostrils, exhale and allow your eyes to open. And we'll consider some of the different kindnesses that other people have extended towards us. So first of all, the basic requisites for life. So our food, the shelter that we have, the clothing that we wear, and medicines are all provided by others. Not only that, but your good health, your possessions, your safety, and harmony itself are dependent on the kindness of others. So just take a moment considering the kindness of others and how it ensures your success. And reflect on how their kindness has impacted your life. Then ponder the interconnectedness of giving and receiving. And imagine ways to help others by delving into your own capacity for generosity. So if your eyes are closed, I'd like you to sort of deeply reflect on the kindness from loved ones and from all beings. But try to imagine sort of countless acts of kindness unfolding in your mind. Do you feel grateful? To reflect on how the kindness of others has actually shaped your life. Then from your heart, turn towards others with gratitude. And then, if your eyes are closed, allow them to open and just contemplate this verse um, put forward by Shantideva in his Bodhisattva's way of life. So when my eyes behold limited beings, I shall think, depending on them, I shall attain Buddhahood, and then look with a sincere and loving manner towards them. Now we're going to do another short meditation. So we are also limited beings, but despite our limits, I want you to reflect for a few moments on the responsibility you've taken up to free all sentient beings from suffering. You're contemplating your inability to fully benefit all beings. You're acknowledging that. We are like birds with clipped wings. But we can acknowledge the unique ability of a perfect, complete Buddha to guide all beings to enlightenment. So I want you to imagine that the Buddha is in front of us. He's seated on a majestic throne adorned with precious stones. Surrounded by a spiritual entourage, the Buddha is offering us refuge and protection, just like a fortress does amidst chaos. So again, take a few moments to reflect upon the sufferings of cyclic existence, which is experienced by all limited beings like ourselves. And then, for a moment or two, acknowledge and contemplate this rare opportunity of being human affords us. Our encountering of the Buddha's teachings and having the leisure to engage with them. And this is as rare as seeing a star in the daytime. So, as if you've discovered um, something rare and precious, decide to take refuge in the Buddha and the Dharma and the spiritual community. These three rare sublime ones. Thereby taking a safe direction for life. resolve to attain the precious state of a perfect, complete Buddha for the sake of all beings. And if your eyes are closed, allow them to open now, and we'll take refuge in the three rare sublime ones by saying, I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I am enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Supreme Assembly. By the merits I create through listening to the Dharma, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. And then imagine that from the heart of the Buddha, pour streams of light rays and cleansing nectar, which purify your past misdeeds and present obstacles. And they nurture whatever merits and qualities you have. So that you can affirm with confidence that no matter what, we will swiftly attain the precious state of a perfect, complete Guru Buddha for the sake of all sentient beings. And commit yourself to diligently train in the bodhisattva deeds. And for a moment or two, if your eyes are closed, just open them again, and we're going to recollect the hardships that the Buddha endured to fully awaken. So just take a moment to think about that. Whatever you can remember of the stories that he did, what he went through. Then ask yourself, why did he do that? Why did he go through so many hardships? And then acknowledge that he did all of that because he cherished sentient beings more than himself. So respect this and allow yourself to feel gratitude. Now recollect the qualities of the Buddha. His great compassion, his great love, his great wisdom, his great skillful means. They all arose dependent on his cherishing of others. So allow yourself to cherish those whom the Buddha cherishes. And always remember that sentient beings are as precious as the Buddha. Now, if your eyes are open, you can gently close them. And you can imagine a second figure of Guru Buddha emerging from the main figure, Buddha himself, and merging into you. And think that the form of your body transforms into that of a Guru Buddha. So that you are Guru Buddha. Think that you're as bright as a radiant sun, casting light upon all beings. You illuminate their potential for enlightenment. Consider the light rays emanating from your transformed body, touching each sentient being, awakening their dormant Buddha nature. So it's easy to imagine that all the beings around you have been set in the state of Guru Buddha. Their minds are clear and serene, like a tranquil lake reflecting the moon's brilliance. Now take a deeper breath to center yourself. And acknowledge that you, the meditator, and sentient beings, and the wish for their happiness are interconnected. So contemplate the dependence of these factors on each other. Thereby pondering the lack of their non-dependent existence. So combined with love and compassion, imagine that your wisdom and love and compassion are not two. They're not dual. They are inseparable. And recollecting sentient beings who are trapped in misery, longing for liberty, like rats in traps, struggling for freedom. Having fallen into their misery because of attachment and aversion. Always attached to their own interests and averse to others' welfare. Affirm your commitment to free them from this cycle of struggling existence. Make a vow to be a catalyst for others' change and tranquility. Thinking, if only all sentient beings could dwell in the equanimity that is free from the bias of attachment and aversion. May they dwell in such equanimity. I will cause them to dwell in such equanimity. Guru Deity, please bless me to do this. Now, because we ourselves have fallen into misery because of our own attachment and aversion, attached to our own interests and averse to others' welfare, so think how wonderful it would be if I myself were well and happy. May I have the causes to be well and happy. I will cause myself to be well and happy. Please, Guru Buddha, bodhisattvas and deities, inspire me to do this. Then think how wonderful it would be if others could be well and happy and had its causes. May others have the causes to be well and happy. I will cause others to be well and happy. So please, Guru Buddha, bodhisattvas and deities, inspire me to do this. So we wish that others, we're going to expand our wishes now, that all beings will be well and happy and have the causes for both. So think that if only our own family could have happiness and its causes, may they have happiness and its causes. I will cause them to have happiness and its causes. The Guru Deity, please bless me that I could do this. Now, if only our friends could have happiness and its causes, may they have happiness and its causes. I will cause them to have happiness and its causes. Guru Deity, please bless me so I can do this. Now, if only our pets and the animals we care for could have happiness and its causes, may they have happiness and its causes. I will cause them to have happiness and its causes. Guru Deity, please bless me so I can do this. If only strangers could have happiness and its causes. So make the wish that they do so. Decide to cause this yourself. And now ask for help from the deity so that you can do it. And think, if only those who resent us and hate us could have happiness and its causes. So make the wish that they have happiness and its causes. decide to cause this to take place yourself. And ask for help from the Guru Deity to do it. So now think, if only all sentient beings could have happiness and its causes. So make the wish that they are able to have happiness and its causes. Take on the personal responsibility to cause others to have happiness and its causes. Then ask for help from the Guru Deity to accomplish this wish. So now wish, may all sentient beings be free from suffering and its causes. Then wish, may all sentient beings never be separated from the happiness that is without suffering. And because you've asked the Guru Deity for help, imagine now that colourful nectar and light shower down from all the beings in the merit field. This light and colourful nectar purifies us, clears out all the bad stuff we've gathered up. It especially removes malice, personal distress, overexcitement, indifference, and apathy. And we glow with clear light. We feel as if we're getting stronger and better in every way. So that all of us are now living non-violently and wisely. And we remember those shining examples of good deeds above us who feel calm and bright, the deities of refuge, our field of merit. And respecting their qualities, we decide to clean ourselves up and to gather more goodness and wisdom to become enlightened. We acknowledge this field of accumulation of merit above us, and we remember that everything seems real, but it's not. Nothing exists on its own. It's all just ideas with names. So the Buddhas and the deities above us, we ourselves, our deeds and our goals are mere inner and outer imputations. So now breathing in, your eyes are closed, exhale breath And allow your eyes to open. And we'll recite the 7 limb prayer together. So we say together, reverently I prostrate with my body, speech, and mind. I present clouds of every type of offering, actual and imagined. I declare all my negative actions accumulated since beginning this time, and rejoice in the merit of all holy and ordinary beings. Please remain until the end of cyclic existence and turn the wheel of Dharma for living beings. I dedicate my own and others' merits to the great enlightenment. So now get ready to give away everything that you see, the world itself, yourself, and every good deed you've engaged in. And acknowledge that this giving away will help us in many lives to come. It stops our greed and our selfishness right now, and it frees us from thinking we truly own anything. So form the mudra for the mandala offering if you know how to do that. And then think and say, this ground, anointed with perfume, strewn with flowers, adorned with Mount Meru, 4 continents, the sun and the moon. I imagine this as a Buddha field and offer it. May all living beings enjoy this pure land. Idam Guru Rapta Mandala Kamnayatayami. The Buddha takes what we offer. He smiles at us and we meet his gaze. And in his eyes, we find immense kindness and comfort. So now we're going to ask him earnestly for 3 things. So we ask the Buddha, please help me to stop all wrong thoughts, from disrespect to our teacher to clinging to ego. Let all right thoughts, like respect for our guides, come easily. Remove all obstacles inside and out. In summary, we're going to now say, Guru, please bless us and all beings to understand and feel impartiality, to recognize everyone as our mother, to remember their kindness, to want to repay it, and to feel love, compassion, determination, and the mind of enlightenment. And then just sort of breathing in again. Exhale. Allow your eyes to flutter open. And we'll have a little break here. And we must, if you'd like to say anything or ask about anything, now's a good time to do that. It also brings us a little chance to rest the mind a bit, because we've been doing quite a bit of contemplating and thinking. So how's everyone going? Been too much? Too many meditations? Or is it okay?
It's pretty intense, Eddie, like to sustain that kind of focus paced like this, but it's really good because it's like it integrates prayers And otherwise there's a danger in the prayers to just go yada 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 instead of actually kind of put in the effort to do say them with feeling. So yeah, I really like that.
That's good. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it can be, like I said, a little tiring for the mind, especially if you're not used to it, to have a sustained way of thinking about things and then to imagine things and then bring in reasoning and thinking, all that sort of stuff together. It's probably much more easier for us to listen to a piece of music for 90 minutes or watch a film than it is to sit here and create all this ourselves. Okay, so the next section now, so we're now going to work in what they call the 6 causes and 1 effect. So we're not going through all 6 causes, we're just going to go through the causes that bring about this love and kindness. Right, so we'll go through that and then we'll stop at just before we generate great compassion. And this only because we're really focused here on this course being about love and kindness. I guess, again, it's going to require a little bit of perseverance on our part. But again, if it just gets tired, just sort of relax a bit more. Let's begin again by looking at equanimity, and especially equanimity from the Mahayana perspective. So we have this verse here which says, the supreme fruit of the complete tree of bodhicitta arises from the unbroken seed of compassion that is moistened by the water of love in the ground of equanimity. It's a pretty amazing simile, isn't it? Oh, omniscient one, at your feet, I make requests to develop this or form this ground of equanimity so we can develop this love and then from there go on to great compassion and then the mind of enlightenment and then the 2 bodies of a Buddha. So Geshe Tashi Sering from London, or who used to be at the London Centre, and from his book, The Awakened Mind, says this about this verse. He says, this equalization or this equanimity confronts us with the fact that there is no way we are in any way superior or inferior to any other living being in either our ability or our right to experience happiness or to be free from suffering. But to be effective, this knowledge needs to be made more experiential. So the Dharma of the Buddha strongly asserts this fundamental equality. But if upon exploration we were to discover that all beings were not equal at this deepest level, then the whole technique would just fall apart. So we've got to sort of look at this and when we engage in the practice, work out that it is this way. So there's a number of ways I think that we're equal. One is that we all lack an inherent self. None of us has a self that's independent of our body and mind, or is the body and mind. That goes right across the board of any sentient being. You'll never find a self that is the body or the mind, or that's independent of the 2 and has control over them. We're the same. We are all subject to disintegration. We're all subject to old age and dying. There's not anything on the planet that's alive forever. So just like there, we're the same. Then in terms of our wish for happiness and our wish to avoid suffering, we are similar there. And so there are some number of very sort of basic, very, very basic, at the ground level where we are the same, we're equal. And so this is what we're looking at, this is in the ground of equanimity. Uh, um, so this leads us to the development of equanimity. And I said there's two ways we can do this. You can do it in the quite common way, which we're about to do, in terms of the six causes and one effect. So it's like the foundation. It's not one of the six causes, but it's the foundation for them. Or you could go across and go, okay, well, instead of that, I'll go and do the 9 reasons practice. Right, so some of you might be familiar with that. We did that in one of the other episodes, maybe last year or something like that, when we looked at equanimity. Now, the focus of equanimity varies from text to text. So in this particular book I've been looking at, the Swift Path, the way they talk about the way they talk about its development is you begin with like a neutral person. Then you move across to take 2 or more neutral persons. Then you go to a pleasant person, and then an unpleasant person. Then you put them both together. And then you go to all sentient beings. So I looked at this and wrote out meditations for each of these and then realized, oh my gosh, we're not doing that. The course is not about equanimity, it's about loving kindness. So I just kept a couple in there, right? So I thought, we still have to practice get the ground right, and then we'll move to loving kindness. So let's do a couple of meditations on equanimity, and then we'll come to the loving kindness. Yeah. So again, just get comfortable in your seat. You can keep your eyes open or closed. But I want you to remember that there is a guru deity like above your crown in front of you. And so I want you to now imagine what you call a neutral person, probably a stranger, someone who has neither helped you nor harmed you, and they're in front of you. I want you to contemplate or to think about their desire for happiness and their aversion to suffering. Isn't their desire and their aversion similar to our own? So instead of holding them at a distance, instead of being indifferent, could we treat them with impartiality, like a sun, shining equally on all without favoritism or distance? As we understand their desire for happiness and aversion to suffering, can we treat them equally without favoritism or distance? If we're unsure, let's ask for help from the deity above us. And imagine colorful nectar and light coming out of the heart of the deity, cleansing away our doubts, our fears, our prejudices. All these washed away in the same way that rain will wash away dust. Have your mind reveal its natural clarity. And then imagine that in response to the lighted nectar, all beings transform into radiant light. They are all the same. With the nature expanding goodness and wisdom. Again, notice breathing in through your nostrils, exhaling through your breath. Let your eyes flutter open. Give your mind a little rest. So it says, as we go through and contemplate these different scenes, when we have produced impartiality with respect to two or more neutral persons, a pleasant person, and then a singular unpleasant and disagreeable person, we clearly imagine that's in front of us two figures. Somebody who seems to be kind, good looking, somebody we'd like to know, and somebody who's a little unpleasant, somebody we'd prefer to be have nothing much to do with. We're naturally sort of averse to them. So here's a picture of a couple of people that sort of naturally brings up that sort of feeling. Or one person is attractive and nice, I like them. The other person, I know a bit about them. Don't want to really have me too close to that fellow. So we'll do this meditation now on what they call the unpleasant and the pleasant to try and generate some sort of impartiality towards the two of them. So again, you just adjust your posture, you're comfortable in your seat. You've got in front of you two people. One is unpleasant to look at and to be in their company. The other is pleasant to look at, to know, and you'd like to be in their company. But you remember that each of these persons, their desire for happiness and avoidance of suffering are akin to all beings seeking comfort and the avoidance of pain. They reflect upon the intertwined roles they have in your life as both friend and foe. Consider the futility of attachment for one and aversion to the other. As this is not easy to do, but pray for the strength to maintain impartiality, free from the sway of bias, and impartiality which is unaffected by fleeting winds of change. So we ask the Guru Deity to help us do that. In response, feel the lights and nectars wash over you. Removing impartiality so that the unpleasant and pleasant are both acceptable to you. What about them is acceptable? Their desire for happiness and avoidance of suffering. These wishes are the same as our own. As we accept these wishes for ourselves, we accept others have these wishes too. And just breathing up through the nostrils, exhaling through the mouth. Allow the eyes to flutter open. And we'll come to the last object of equanimity, all sentient beings. So here, once you've attained impartiality to that last group of people, we move across to this next group. And here we've got like everyone. So I've got all the animals here. You could also put in like all the insects, any being that you think has a consciousness, especially beings that you're afraid of. So you try and like put them all in a large group. So it's helpful here to when you imagine it's like say the names, the insects, and then the insects you don't like will pop up into your mind. The animals you're afraid of, well, say them. So you actually have them there because you've got to work against the bias that we have, the aversion we have. So let's do that again. Again, just in the seat. So I've got all sentient beings. So these will be human beings, of course. So I've got lots of human beings, different shapes, sizes, colors, different social strata, different cultures. Then we've got the animals, birds, four-legged creatures, some with trunks, some with sharp teeth, some with furry skins, some with skins that are without fur. There are the creatures in the sea, different sizes, different shapes. There are the birds of the air. Then there are the creatures that we cannot see with our eyes, the hungry ghosts, spirit beings. Then there are the beings living in these hellish states, tormented with suffering. Then there are the beings called the gods without cognition. All of these beings experience sufferings of some type. All of them, their happiness is not complete, it's not stable. So all of them have a shared desire for happiness and an aversion to suffering. Let us contemplate this shared desire, acknowledge it. And consider the interconnectedness of all beings, such as your own family. So rather than favoring some and distancing yourself from others, why not see each other as being the same? Then resolve to do this. Decide, I'll do my very best to regard all sentient beings with impartiality, free from the sway of attachment and aversion. I'll have my mind be like a scale, perfectly balanced. And if I need help to do this, I'll pray for the guidance and blessings of the Guru deity to cultivate this special realization of equanimity towards all sentient beings. So imagine streams of 5-colored nectar, along with light rays, descend from the body of the Guru deity above your crown. They permeate your body and mind and those of all other sentient beings. They cleanse us of all the misdeeds and obstructions we have amassed since beginningless time. And all those misdeeds and obstructions that prevent us from generating, cultivating, and realizing impartiality washed away completely. So that we have this special realization of impartiality towards all sentient beings on our mental continuum right now. Breathing in, exhale through your mouth, allow your eyes to flutter open. And consider this next slide that I'll put up. This is the beginning now of this 6 causes, 1 effect. It begins with recognizing that consciousness has no beginning. And so this verse says, when taking rebirth, the respiration, sense powers, and minds do not arise from the body alone, without reliance on their similar types. So what's being said here is this is a, we call it a syllogism, sort of disguised in verse. So syllogisms are forms of reasoning where you've got to put up your subject matter, you have a predicate, there's a reason, and then you often give an example. So here the subject is the consciousness of a being who has just been reborn in the womb. And the predicate is that it is preceded by a prior consciousness that serves as its substantial cause. And so then we go, like, why? What reason do you have to say that? And the response is, because it's a consciousness. Which you sort of probably go, like, what? So you have to sort of consider this. And of course, what's being sort of said in this way, which requires some sort of thinking, yeah. So I guess when we're scratching our head, we're looking for like an example, like, like the example, please. And the example given is the case of present consciousness. So I'll just say it again to put it all together. So the subject is the consciousness of a being who has just been reborn in the womb. The predicate is, it is preceded by a prior consciousness that serves as its substantial cause. And the reason for this is because it's a consciousness. What's the example? The case of your present consciousness. So in other words, it's sort of saying, only consciousness produces consciousness. You're a conscious person. You have a mind, right? What produced the moment of mind that you're experiencing right now?
Just stop the share for a sec, Eddie, so we can see you. Are you saying it's to do with because of the nature of consciousness being like a formless thing? It's a
No,
you
the
know
nature of consciousness being a produced phenomena. It requires a cause. We're asking, well, what's the cause
yeah
of this present moment of consciousness? And the answer is the moment just before it.
yeah okay
Yeah, that's basically it. Right? So you go, well, it's happened to me right now. It says, well, it's happened to you while you were in the womb also. Right? So you can't, in this way we say there's no findable first moment. Because if there were a first moment, it's like there's no substantial cause. I mean, the thing just pops out of nowhere. But that's impossible. So this is the reasoning basically, a reason for um, the beginninglessness of consciousness. So we start with that. And then this idea of having taken birth, right? Having taken rebirth. So we're in the womb, consciousness is there, the I is imputed to the consciousness. There must be a substantial cause for that consciousness. And as we're going to be reborn, this means you've had, just as you're about to have a birth, it will come to an end. And then what happens? The next moment of consciousness. There's nothing to stop consciousness. So it shows, okay, lots and lots of births. We've been born again and again and again. So this gives the idea of rebirth. So having a birth means you must have a mother. Something produced help, you come alive. Right? So here again, we're asked to recognize this fact that we have had a mother, just like we've got a mother in this life. Well, just like we've had a mother in this life, we've had mothers in other lives. Where are these mothers? They said, well, as the Indians said, they're all around us. All these living beings around us have at one stage or another been a mother to you, just not in this life. So recognize this. Why? To inspire a sense of commonality and solidarity with every living being around us. So the meditation. Let's have a go. So you're sitting comfortably in the seat. Your eyes can be open or closed. And I want you to imagine the vast expanse of beginningless rebirths like an endless journey through time with countless stops, like seconds on a clock. Then contemplate the countless types of bodies you must have inhabited, each one a unique experience in the cycle of rebirth. So just reflect on this profound truth that every sentient being has been your mother and has nurtured you with kindness countless times. But an objection might arise. The objection might be that past instances of motherhood are irrelevant to the present. But this is a bit like trying to separate yesterday's kindness from today's. We have to understand that the kindness of motherhood transcends time. In the same way that the skill of a doctor saving your life today is just as important to you 5 years in the future, regardless. The skill of the doctor matters. The fact that they saved your life matters, whether it's today, 5 years in the future, 10 years in the future. It's the same with motherhood, whether it took place in a past life or the present life. So we are encouraged to recall the kindness of the mother. Why? To inspire gratitude. So now, imagine the tender care of your mother. From the time in the womb to your birth and her cradling you in her arms, she has sacrificed her own comfort for your well-being. And think about her boundless kindness across countless lifetimes. From the very warmth of her womb to the sacrifices she made without hesitation. Consider her selfless actions, the times she endured hardship, other times when she offered everything she had for your happiness and growth. Then reflect upon her support and her protection. The times she did her best to shield you from harm. Those times she nurtured your happiness. She was like a guardian watching over you. Now transfer this experience of maternal kindness that she's extended to you to others. Think about the kindness of your father. Now, all sentient beings have been your father in past lives. Transfer this experience of maternal kindness to people who are strangers to you at present. Recognize their potential as mothers in past lives and their capacity for this immense kindness. And again, just breathing in through the nostrils, exhaling through the mouth. Allow your eyes to flutter open and let the mind rest for a few moments. And so we began with looking at the kindness of.
Just stop the share, hon.
We started with the idea of beginningless consciousness and to recognize that all beings may have been our mother, have been our mother at one time or another. Then we focused on the last meditation about the mother of this present life. Try to recognize her kindness and then extrapolate out to all these other beings. Now the next one is to look at the kindness of unpleasant people. And why should we do that? What
Just
advantage
giving
do
you.
we have when we consider the kindness of the unpleasant person? Is basically to inspire
Eddie,
us
I'm
with
just giving.
tolerance and forbearance. Yes, Miffy.
Eddie, you've just got like 10 minutes or so left.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
Okay. So again, I want you to try and imagine that your enemies, the people who've hurt you in the past, people you don't like or who don't like you, just find one or two of them and just place them in front of you. They're just like characters on a stage in the theater of your mind. But you have to remember what these people here have also played the role of a mother in past lifetimes. When they did, they nurtured me with kindness and ensured my well-being. So there's a mutual affinity and interconnectedness between yourself and your enemies. There is a relationship of past karma. So the current adversarial stance is a result of past actions. But underneath that lies this deep bond of maternal kindness. So recognize the people who are unpleasant to us in the moment, at present, have also been mothers and fathers to us. When they were kind. We're to recognize that kindness, to focus on that, and then to extend our compassion and goodwill towards them, even in the face of adversity. Okay, breathing out again. So now we look at the kindness of all beings. Before we looked at the equality, this is equanimity. And we looked at equanimity, all beings being equal, then the beginninglessness of consciousness. We've been equally reborn by all beings. Here we look at the kindness of all beings. It's this way of bringing about it within us a sense of friendliness. We can do that. We move on then to this willingness to repay the kindness of all beings. Again, if we look, the purpose is to inspire a sense of reciprocity of affection in us. This leads to what we call affectionate love. Now here again, we ask what, why or how. Again, it's the purpose to it. It's the recognition of the value of others being happy. So each of these, of course, has a meditation. We won't be doing them right now. We're just about out of time. But it finishes up with this idea of the realization of love. So again, we have the deity up above us. Oopsie. And we have the light rays and so forth coming on. It removes any hindrance to genuine affection and replaces it with affection.
Mm-hmm.
And so we'll go on now. So that's all in the session, right? Miffy, you got something to say?
Yeah, I just thought it is interesting that the that we start with the neutral person, and it's like and then build it up, build our sense of love up. It's like we're starting with a really clean slate rather than starting with just an emotion of love or kindness that's, can be biased, strings attached, all of that. It's harder. I mean, I find it quite hard to start from equanimity and build it up, but I can see how it's much stronger and cleaner.
Yeah, so they're presented in two different ways. They do that here, but remember previously we started off with loving ourselves, right? Because we have a natural affection for ourselves. Then we start with somebody we actually feel affection towards. So we actually know what that feels like. It's like this way of bringing that back. So, and then we can go back. Then we, start off with the ground again because we're going off towards the mind of enlightenment. So they do it, the two ways, isn't it? So sometimes it's like I said, starting with you got to get this feeling of warmth. And then we put that across to everyone. So now we come to the part where we show how to practice loving kindness outside a session. Well, there's some very simple ways you can do this. And the first is like, be a friendly person. One of the simplest ways you can do this is smile and say hello to people. I mean, it's probably not something we often do, but this is a very simple way of doing it. Very good for us, very good for others. In fact, it happens here in Brisbane when sometimes when you hop on a bus and the bus driver says he's really welcomes every person on the bus. If you're sitting there listening, you go, wow, that feels really good. He doesn't have to do it, but occasionally one or two will do it. Hello, madam. How are you today? Welcome on board. They say it to each person. It's a good way just to break the barriers down. Another simple thing to do, it really just works against our sense of entitlement and holding back, is just do something kind without any sort of reason. Just somebody needs help. There's people that need help. offer a couple of hours of help somewhere to help people. And probably one of the most common ways and easiest way is to listen actively to others. Listen to their stories. Try to add something that's useful to them rather than you hopping in and telling them your story, right? Which is a common thing we do. And then be consistent about it. This is be consistent about meditating on it in sessions, but also like going out and you go out today, put a smile on your face. Remember, I'm going to say hello to some people. If I see somebody out there with their hand out saying they're homeless, I'm going to help them. It doesn't have to be large amounts of money, but this fact that you want to help them, perhaps give them a sandwich if you don't want. If you think, oh, I can't give money or something, give them your ear. Let them know that you see them. One of the other things that this came from His Holiness was to journal gratitude. So every day, write down something that you are grateful for about another sentient being in the world. So this great teacher, Kamala Shila, says, moistened by love, your mind becomes like friable, fertile soil. When you plant the seed of compassion, it grows easily and bountifully. Therefore, after you infuse your mind with love, cultivate compassion. And believe me, all these meditations on compassion, they're as large as the ones on love. Right? And the ones on love are sort of as large as the ones on equanimity. So when you read a lot of material, you go, oh my God, no wonder it's going to take so long to get enlightened. There's so much mental work to do. And also remember, the Mahayana, they come at it from all sorts of directions. You don't have to do everyone. You don't have to do every meditation. You're just going to find the ones that really work for you so that your mind changes. So what's our takeaway for today? Well, a number of methods to cultivate love in a meditation session. And the way I did it was this is only one of them. And, some ways to practice love outside of a session. Friendliness, listen actively, put a smile on your face, say hello. Which brings us to the end of our course. So thank you. Thank you for being here. Thank you for letting me work, make my life useful, meaningful.
Stop the share for a sec so we can see you.
No.
No.
At the end. At the end. It's coming up. Let's dedicate first, right?
Okay.
So we think, due to the merits of these virtuous actions, may I quickly attain the state of a Guru Buddha and lead all living beings without exception into that enlightened state. May the supreme jewel, bodhicitta, not yet born, arise and grow. May that born have no decline, but increase forevermore. And as long as space remains, as long as sentient beings remain, may I too remain to dispel the sorrows of the world. And we finish off with a requesting prayer to one of our great teachers, Lama Zopa Rinpoche, who is the embodiment of loving kindness, compassion, the person who sought enlightenment for the benefit of all beings. So let's make this request. In holding and spreading the Muni's precious and complete teachings through explanation and practice, you wore the armor of patience that is never discouraged. Incomparable, venerable Guru, do you make this request? So, we've come to the end, folks, at least for this month. We'll hope to see you all again very shortly. Please stay alive, lead meaningful lives, and be kind. Okay, we'll see you again.